House of Delegates member from the Lynchburg area in Virginia. He's also chairman of the Conservative Caucus, very long-time friend of mine, good guy. And we've been fighting battles like get rid of red light cameras and things that we can't see him never win because that's a money machine for the swampers and bureaucracy. So, well, he's been fighting the good battle. He's running for Congress. That'll be decided Saturday. That's right, Saturday, May 19th, in a convention. It's gotten ugly. It's an ugly convention. But that'll be decided on Saturday in Harrisonburg at the James Madison University Convocation Center. That's where they play basketball and have concerts. That's where the Harrisonburg Heist was held last year, the RPV convention. And there's 8 candidates running, but Chaz Haywood isn't going to win. He's one of 3. We've now written him off, clerk of court from Harrisonburg. This is a 2-person race. Cynthia Dunbar, the state committee woman, and Ben Cline. Both camps say they're going to win, so who knows, right? We'll have to see how it goes. Now, we're not broadcasting that live because the chairman, Scott Sayre, even though I've done this 15 times or so at many other conventions and we're accommodated, they can't accommodate our broadcast needs or they don't want to. Whatever, I'm not going because it doesn't fit our company's media broadcast need platform. So that's up to Scott, whatever. But I want to get to Ben Cline now. Ben, good to have you with us.
John, it's always good to be with you. I tell you, if the reason they're not letting you on the floor is because Martha Bonetta can't be with you. No, if you had her with you, they'd be opening the doors, laying out the red carpet there.
I think you're right, Ben. She was supposed to be part of the broadcast team. She decided to stay in Israel. She apparently has some friends there, so she's not going to be back for it. If she was part of the team, you'd bet they'd bend over backwards. But look, Scott Sayre's a chairman, and as you know, I play by the rules, and we try to get on the floor, and we've been fighting this battle for a month. But basically, at the end of the day, my needs are I need to be on the floor, I need a table, I need power, I need a 100-foot cable, which we bring to hook up to the multi-box so we can bring the speakers, and we need 2 chairs. They said no, and that's their decision. So once we couldn't get that, we can't put a quality broadcast on the air, so our company decided we can't go and broadcast it. No hard feelings. It is what it is. He's the chairman, and, they make his decision and we make ours. Tell me about how do you win this race?
Well, it's very disappointing that the 6th District has made it so inaccessible to the media. They initially were trying to make it inaccessible to children. They've relented and allowed children on the floor with their parents who are delegates. All through this process, the establishment has been trying to keep our campaign out, keep our campaign away from controlling anything related to this convention. But we are we are the campaign that has the grassroots support, and so we're bringing the grassroots to Harrisonburg on Saturday, and we're going to win the very first vote for temporary chairman. And at that point, we're going to have a fair and open convention, because that's what this has always been about, a fair and open convention from the very beginning, where Sayre and Matt Tiedrick and Cynthia Dunbar's team tried to make this a plurality contest because they knew she couldn't get to 50%. So they said, well, let's just make it a plurality single vote. We got that rolled back by State Central. Then they wouldn't give us the delegate lists until a month before the convention. We fought back and got a majority of the units to give us their lists, give all of the candidates their lists ahead of the deadline. Then they started decredentialing all of our delegates. So, hundreds of my delegates have been getting letters saying, don't bother coming. You're being decredentialed. Your vote's not going to count ahead of the temporary chairman. So we've had to correct the record on that. And so, all through this process, we've been fighting the establishment. We've got an insurgent campaign. We've got the grassroots, and we're going to win on Saturday because we're going to bring those people.
Let me ask you something, Delegate Cline. Why has the Scott Sayre Dunbar forces gone to such lengths to manipulate, change rules, kick people out, challenge credentials? Why are they I've never seen this. Well, I saw it when, Randy Forbes, he slated in Chesapeake to beat Kirk Cox back in the day. But so that was pretty bad, and he was able to win that. But, why are they doing this? Because it's all over the media. It's nasty stuff. Why not just go sign your delegates up, make your speech, do your convention stuff, and win. Why all these shenanigans? I mean, what's the objective?
It is sad.
Here?
It's sad because they know they don't have the numbers to win, so they got to control the rules to their advantage and try and rig the rules so that their candidate who can't get 50% of the vote can crawl across the finish line with 40% or 30% or whatever she's going to bring. But most of her support, she unveils these big names from inside the Beltway, and that doesn't impress people at the grassroots level. She has a handful of unit chairs who vote with Sayre to rig the rules. That doesn't extend beyond the unit chairs because most of the grassroots are actually supporting me, all the locally elected, if you're a Commonwealth attorney or a supervisor or a sheriff, you got to go out there and beat the grassroots to get the support. And they're the ones who have beat the bushes and gotten the support, and they're all for me. We're all bringing all of our team. And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of our numbers, and so they're trying to keep us out of the convention hall. But we're not going to let them. We're going to win the temporary chair vote, and then we're going to go on and have a fair convention, and we're going to win.
All right, so the temporary chair vote, there's two people running for temporary chair. There's Steve Albertson, who runs the Bull Elephant Block. He's also a very powerful, high-priced lawyer. Steve knows a lot of people. He's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. But this is why I still got Dunbar here as the favorite. I mean, Ben, these people know how to run convention. I mean, Steve Albertson makes like $1,000 an hour in Washington. I mean, these guys are really good at what they do. And so I think you're bringing in my guy from the 4th District, right, Jack Wilson, who ran the RPV's convention last May. And Jack's a great guy, but, I mean, Albertson is the master parliamentarian. And these guys know every rule in the book. So how are you going to beat him? I mean, how is Jack Wilson, that basically is an unheard of, going to beat Albertson? Albertson, is planning right now on how to get temporary chair. How are you going to beat these people?
Well, it's not a dueling contest between the two parliamentary skills. It's a matter of who brings the numbers to the convention hall, and we've got the grassroots on our side, so we're going to have the votes to elect Wilson in the beginning, their temporary chair. And Albertson's a great guy. He's a good conservative. I have known him for years, and we've worked together on a lot of conservative causes. Jack Wilson's a great leader as well and did a great job with the convention 2 years ago. Ran a very fair convention. All sides agree that he ran a fair convention. So I think you're going to get a good result with a good parliamentary expert, regardless of which side wins, but I'm optimistic that we're going to have the numbers. All through this process, it hasn't been. They've tried to use the rules and change the rules and rig the rules to benefit their candidate. But when the rules aren't on your side, you're never going to win. And the rules aren't on the side of my opponent; they're on the side of right and the side of openness. The Republican Party of Virginia rules are we're the party of transparency. We're the party of openness, and that's what's going to win on Saturday.
So, Ben Cline, is it fair to say that the first vote for temporary chair between Jack Wilson, who you guys are going to nominate, and Steve Albertson, the outcome of that is really going to determine what transpires going forward, right? Because if Albertson's a temporary chair, that means that Dunbar has got more votes there than maybe going in you think she has. And also that puts them in charge, basically, of the convention because Albertson is a Dunbar backer, right?
Right. We've got the numbers so that her objective right now and her emails from her team all back this up is to send out challenges to all of my delegates' credentials. And they're trying to keep them out of the convention hall. At first they were saying, well, you won't be given real credentials when you get here. You'll be given provisional credentials, and you can't vote until we tell you can vote. Well, that's against RPV rules, and RPV had to come in and say, no, if you show up and you've been credentialed by your unit, the convention can't take that away from you. Dunbar's forces can't take that away from you. You get to come in and vote for temporary chair. So now we're trying to repair all the damage they've done. And that was their whole MO, to go and try and create this atmosphere of, we might as well not even go because we've been challenged. It's going to be a hassle. I've got better things to do on a Saturday in May. Let's just not go. But we've been in contact with all of our delegates. They are not just coming, now they're coming and they're mad because somebody has told them they voted Democrat when they didn't. They never voted in a Democratic primary. Now the Dunbar's campaign is accusing them of voting in a Democratic primary. And we're going to get there, and everybody's going to be able to vote. And the fairness will have the day, and I'm optimistic that I'll be the nominee.
So basically, right off the bat, then, if you're credentialed by your unit and you show up, you're going to be able to vote for temporary chair. And then the temporary chair can then go forward and decide what the credentialing process is. Is that my understanding?
That's exactly right. You know, if Dunbar wanted to raise challenges to delegates to this convention, the mass meetings were the place to do it. You do it at the mass meeting level where the delegates are elected and credentialed, and then they're sent to the 6th District. You know, it's not up to the 6th District to decide whether Rockbridge County or Roanoke City or Bedford County gets to send Joe as a delegate to the convention. Bedford got to decide that Joe got to go to the convention. It's when they get there and they vote and then they decide what the rules are for the convention. Then the convention decides whether Joe can stay and vote for the congressional race. And that's the way we're going to do it. We're going to do it fairly. We're going to make sure that there's representation from all the committees, from all the campaigns. We had 5 of the 8 campaigns with us behind Jack Wilson. So it's a majority of delegates who were registered. It's a majority of the candidates who are standing for election, and we're optimistic we're going to have a majority at the end of the day.
Well, challenging people because they voted in a Democratic primary. I've voted in a number of Democratic primaries in my area when there's nothing going on the Republican side. So if there's only a Democratic primary, I'm going to vote for, in my judgment, the least harmful Democratic candidate. It's interesting. I got an email, I'm not going to tell you who, but from somebody in Lynchburg who is a delegate and said they were being challenged because they voted in a Democratic primary. And they said, John, I'm writing you because in 2013, you encouraged your listeners to vote in the Democratic primary for Lieutenant Governor for Ralph Northam over Anish Chopra because Chopra was a left-wing Obama liberal and you thought the Democrat was going to win and you were better off with Ralph Northam. So she said, I did exactly what you advised me to do on the radio, and now I'm getting challenged and they won't let me go to the convention. And this was in 2013. And I wrote her back, and I'm like...
Operation Chaos. That was Rush Limbaugh, Operation Chaos, back even before then. And Republicans have voted in Democratic primaries before. But all you have to do is sign a statement saying you support the Republican Party, and you're allowed to participate. We don't want Democrats participating, but if you're a Republican who voted in a Democratic primary, just sign a statement saying, I support the Republicans, and we'll let you vote and credential you, and you'll be able to participate in the convention.
Yeah, it just shouldn't be that difficult, right?
That's right.
So, I get that. I also, in the Democratic primary in 2013, there was no Republican primary because you had a convention. So, I voted in others because if there's nothing going on the Republican side, I might as well, exercise my ability to pick the best Democrat of the bunch. How does that have anything to do with being credentialed? I tell you what, though, which is interesting. This is a sidebar. I hate conventions, right? There's no question about it. I hate them, and just looking what's going on here is a reason why. Steve Albertson has been fighting for conventions forever. What has gone on in the 6th District with Albertson and Sayer and all of his friends, this is like a poster child for why you don't have conventions. This thing is so ridiculous. And the number
is sad.
It's sad. It's really sad.
They've set the cause back for conventions back years. And I love conventions because they are for the politically passionate. But when they're done fairly, then they're fun to be a part of. But this convention has been a nightmare from the start. The attempts to rig the rules by the committee has just been an embarrassment the entire time. And so hopefully we're going to have a cleansing process on Saturday, and I'm going to get to go to Washington with a majority of the delegates behind me and momentum against the Democrats in the fall. And we're going to take it to the Democrats, and we're going to share those Republican values with the 6th District.
But the first vote is that for temporary chair, Albertson, Wilson, and that's really going to define what goes forward. If Albertson wins, that shows that, Dunbar's got her people there, and you guys are in big trouble, right?
Yeah, but it's going to be up to Sayre. Sayre's going to be the one walking out there on the stage and deciding whether to allow a fair vote for chairman. I mean, we don't know what kind of every chance he's gotten, he's tried to rig the rules for Dunbar. So it wouldn't surprise me to have anything happen on the day of the convention.
So he could do what they did in Harrisonburg in 2016 is, I think Shaq Hill challenged for temporary chair, and they did it by a voice vote, and Whitbeck hit the gavel, and that was the end of it. I mean, Sayre could do the same thing, just hit the gavel, and you guys have no recourse if they move on. It's going to be interesting. I won't be there, so I can't tell people what's going on, but I'm sure there'll be bloggers or whatnot. Ben Cline, thanks for sharing all this information with us. I really appreciate the time. I know you've got a lot going on, and good luck on Saturday.
Hey, thanks. Good to be with you, and look forward to a successful result on Saturday and hopefully having you down in the 6th soon.